This week we'll take an updated look at U.S. soybean crop condition ratings, as well as the latest short-term weather forecast, and an overall look at U.S. unshipped export sales of soybeans. Hi, this is Brian Basting with Advanced Trading. Let's talk about the soybean market. We've moved to the middle of September now and we're edging closer to widespread harvest. Let's start today taking a look at updated crop condition ratings for U.S. beans. Our map, as usual this week, takes a look at crop conditions across the U.S. here. Of course, good to excellent in the yellow circles implies unchanged, the red circles implies deterioration, and the green circles imply improvement. And we did see crop condition ratings this week unchanged on beans at 57%, good to excellent. Last year at this time, however, it was at 63%. Looking nationwide here, we're looking at some improvement in the eastern Corn Belt, parts of Michigan, Ohio, for example, and also in the western Corn Belt across Minnesota, Iowa, and Nebraska. However, we did see some deterioration in Wisconsin, Illinois, and South Dakota. We're looking at the U.S. soybean crop condition index. For this third consecutive week, we saw modest improvement. It's still one of the lowest levels in recent years, but it has been improving and is now above where it was in 2019. We want to switch gears here and look at yields. Last week, of course, the USDA came out with their supply-demand report. What this map looks at is the yield, the average yield for the state, as well as the percent change from the previous month. I'd also add that the hashtag in the individual states represent a record yield. Notice that record yields are still forecast for Illinois, Indiana, Ohio, Pennsylvania, and Kentucky. Notice that, however, at this point in the western Corn Belt, those states west of the Mississippi River, we do not have any record soybean yields forecast. However, we did see some significant improvement from August, for example, in the states of Minnesota, Iowa, Missouri. I would take that back. We are looking at a record yield forecast for the state of Missouri. Now we're looking at soybeans dropping leaves. How close are we to harvest? Well, at 38%, we're a little bit above the 5-year average at this time of year. And over the next 2 weeks, typically about 37% of the additional crop drops leaves. So around 75% of the crop, maybe 80% of the crop, will be dropping leaves by that last week in September. So we really should start to see harvest accelerate the last week in September, and particularly that first week in October. Let's now take a look at our short-term weather forecast. Our slides this week, as usual, are courtesy of T-Storm Weather. We're starting out here looking at the near term, the next 5 days. The heaviest rainfall across parts of the main growing areas across Minnesota, parts of Iowa, eastern Nebraska. That would be mainly Thursday and Friday of this week. Also the remnants of Tropical Storm Nicholas across the very deep south. Now we're going to extend that over 7 days. Again, the heaviest rainfall across parts of Minnesota. As we move east, however, it looks pretty dry until we get in that far eastern Corn Belt. Now we're going to look into next week, Saturday through next Wednesday, first day of fall, next Wednesday. Very warm over the next several days here, unseasonably warm. And it is going to be accompanied by some rain eventually, probably around midweek next week. Let's now take a look at unshipped U.S. export sales of beans. Now we're looking at a much different picture of beans this year compared to recent years. In fact, here as of early September, we're looking at the second lowest total of unshipped bean sales over the last 13 years. Now what does that mean? It could mean a couple things. It could mean that we're seeing some pent-up demand. In other words, we're going to see some aggressive purchases here as maybe some of the buyers are waiting for weakness associated with harvest. But it could mean we have a lot more competition for Brazil this year than last year, or maybe it's a combination of both. Regardless, we are looking at a weaker export program this fall than a year ago, and that's being exacerbated at the moment by what's happening in the Gulf. The Gulf is being Gulf situation in terms of the logistical challenges being resolved, but it's going to take some time. Let's wrap things up this week looking at trends in November soybean futures. I've looked at this chart throughout 2021 here, and we'll continue to emphasize that even though we've seen some erosion in that November 2021 soybean futures contract, it's still at the highest level for mid-September since 2013. So we strongly encourage you, particularly as harvest approaches, to continue to work closely with your trusted risk management advisor to manage price movement. Now, if you'd like more information, please feel free to contact us at 800-664-2321. We'll put you in contact with one of our risk management consultants who'll be happy to visit with you at your convenience. And remember, we upload every Wednesday. Make sure to subscribe to our channel to never miss an upload. Thanks a lot. Have a good week.